Testing. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, thank you for coming. We're Comics for Kids from Seattle, Washington /Tacoma 253. And what we do is we give comic books to children to improve literacy and encourage imagination, and hopefully encourage some participation in the comic book medium, maybe forward the industry a little bit and make some sense of it all by the time we're old people.
Hey, look, a kid. Awesome.
There's actual children in the audience. That's encouraging. And this is my associate, Jason McKibben. We've been hanging out since about 1987. Comic books ever since. We met over an Amazing Spider-Man 5 and an X-Men number 3.
X-Men number 3.
Which I might still have. And what we do is we just run around the country, coast to coast, literally giving away comics to kids.
Literally, giving comic books away to kids.
Most,
hey, want a comic book? No.
Yeah, come
Here,
on.
come on up, grab a comic book. Look.
I got you.
This is not a plant, by the way. We did not set this up. Yeah, really.
Once I get changed for this 50.
Had we thought of that next time, we'll pepper this thing full of kids. Oh, awesome.
There we go.
You're a teacher. So where do you teach around here, or are you?
Nice.
A graphic novel unit.
That's very cool. Nice, nice.
Really? Wow. They let you do that? I hear so many schools, they are still weird about comic books being let into schools. It's more power to you.
Good times.
And we need your contact information so that we can back and forth this.
And in case we're in trouble too, we can rely on you.
So, I guess a little bit about us. We got together, like he said, about we met in about 87, 88. We started doing comics for kids. Well, I don't know. You want to give them the story about?
Yeah, sure. We started in 1993, officially in 96, and the basis for our starting it was we bought the Tower Books warehouse of comic books because we had been touring shows just professionally, like buying and selling comics, living off our money kind of thing, and investing in things like this. And then one time when we bought the Tower Books, we had an extra amount of stuff that we maybe couldn't sell so easily.
Tens of thousands of
yeah, like a warehouse. And so we started giving them out for Halloween. And we noticed that the kids were coming back. You know, like the kids that had the Twix down the street, they were going back for those. And then all the rest of the kids were coming to us for free comics. Lots of smiles. So with the code-approved comics, we started giving out. And then we took it a step further and decided to investigate what the inside of the comics were like too, and some of the code approved really aren't for kids, you know, stuff like that, and confiscating one right now. And we also checked the inside for any offensive language, or, you know, people, you know, they want to, if they donate us comics, they sometimes will put stuff in there, you know, like that doesn't belong in there, so we kind of check them out and we stamp them and pass them out to the kids, and that's about that. Back to you, Jason.
Yeah, nice segue. Basically, we were throwing a Halloween party at his house. It was his significant other's birthday at the time, and we had everything going, raging party, live band, the works. And then we realized we didn't get any candy. And of course, we got like the biggest, coolest house on the block, so like every kid in the neighborhood's coming up.
That's the truth.
And but we did have all those Tower books. So he just started grabbing long boxes and setting them up like by the front door.
Yeah.
And we went through 2 or 3 long boxes just during Halloween. And then after the party, or after the kids were all gone, we were hanging out going, wow, this is a really cool feeling. You know, this is actually something that makes us feel good about ourselves, and a few other things do. So that night we decided, hey, what if we could do this? Like for, well, we were dreaming about a living.
Yeah,
I
living
don't think
nothing.
we've made a dime yet. But since 96, basically, we have gone out, and the two of us have given out over 1 million comic books. Pretty much. We've had some people actually donate several comic books. We've had a couple of large dealers give us like thousands of comic books. But a lot of times it's just he and I going out and buying stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we're both parents, you know, so, and we both started when we were very young, reading comic books, somebody giving us giant stacks of comic books. And we went on to, I don't know, I personally feel, and I would argue with anyone that says otherwise, that if you give a kid a stack of comic books when they're very, very young, just let them at them. Maybe read them to them a little bit to get started. But I am firmly convinced that children through this medium become better readers, and through that become better students, and through that become better human beings. Everyone I know that grew up reading comic books has gone on to, well, do better at pretty much whatever it is they're trying to do. We both actually work in the security field for real jobs.
Insurance.
Yeah, well, insurance, whatever. I'm the head of security for a large homeless shelter where I'm from, and it's just growing up reading comic books has kind of taught us the difference between right and wrong. It's given us a set of moral values that you're not going to get today on the internet. You're not going to get today on television. Certainly, I stopped watching television years ago, so I have no idea. I only read now. I recommend all children do that too. Television bad, comics good. This kid's like, I want to go see the people dressed up. Don't blame. What comics do you like, man?
We're not really so into comics yet.
Ah.
Well, that's not true. What comics do you have on the iPad that you like to read? He's totally obsessed with Plants vs. Zombies.
I played that game. It's awesome. I played the game.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, nice. You're the
Awesome.
and the double pea shooter. That's very helpful.
The two leads that he said were required of the double shooter.
Yep. Yeah.
And the eyebrows of the single pea shooter. But he's just becoming a good reader now, and I know that from his other interests that comic books are certainly going to be something that he would definitely like, but it's not something that I really know, so just trying to help him out and figure out where to even start and what to get for him.
Yeah, it's a pretty huge repertoire of comics to delve back 75 plus years. You can't just grab one and have the whole comprehensive thing. But taking your comment a step further, with the literacy and getting them introduced to reading and things like this, there's also the morality plays that are in a lot of the earlier comics too, that kind of teach you right and wrong or help you on your path, like Jason was saying about the other projects that kids could be working on or in their later lives. And what brings to mind is the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, like specifically Marvel comics like that we grew up with, and the right and wrong and the helping other people out and things like this, and the ordinary problems that the Marvel characters would seem to have that carried over issue to issue in the continuity. Like if the Fantastic Four building was stolen and launched in outer space one issue, they're still dealing with the repercussions in 5 or 10 issues or a year later or the other titles.
How they're going to pay rent.
Yeah.
Like
It's
they
like
can't afford to
Peter
pay
Parker
their
needed
employees.
to pay rent and have responsibilities that the DC heroes didn't seem to have. And then of course, furthermore, like you mentioned with the internet, how we're attacking the literacy problem and the morality that we're lacking in a lot of, like you'll notice in today's media, everybody's like doing bad things and everything like this. And we both think that if kids were more communicative with their parents or with their peers or their teachers or anything like this. Come on in, folks. Come on in. Then the comic books when introduced in their youth would help cohesive relationships with their peers, and they talk about comic books, they talk about the movies, and it's easy to find a common ground with what's going on in comic books, and you kind of share that with your friends. It's like for us, hooking up and hanging out when we wouldn't normally have had the same social circle, but are united by comic books that we shared the same.
That's very true. Because
Same
I'm
ideas.
exceptionally hip, and no, I'm kidding. We would not have hung out.
I see how this is.
And comics are really cool too. I mean, that's something that people are looking out, or forgetting about, is that this kind of stuff when I was growing up is really cool, and this kind of stuff that they're putting out now is still really, really cool. But I like giving out the old stuff because it's I don't know. It's more verbose. It's especially anything by Jack Kirby and
You
Stan
have to
Lee.
look up some words.
You
still
gotta
to me, still to
really,
this day.
you gotta figure out what the heck he's talking about. Especially with Thor, I like to give these to little kids. Which, by the way, there's a young lady back there that really needs this comic book. For those of you that don't know, there is a kids area, the south end of the building, I believe. We are set up at the very entrance of this, and we have tons of comic books. So for children that are here today or people who are interested, come talk to us. We're going to give you some comic books. And a way to get a hold of us, you can reach us by phone or by email. Let us know what you're looking for. We will send you more for free. It might take us 100 days, but we'll get it to you. I don't know, does anyone have any questions? I mean, I could ramble on for days about how cool we are, but does anyone have any questions? I know you're a teacher, and I'm kind of curious about your motivations for being here. You're a parent.
Do you have, on your website, do you have resources about what are appropriate comics for different age groups? And I know you're saying that you like the old stuff, which I think was more written for kids. And
Totally.
more of a newer thing that the whole graphic novel thing is an adult art form and form of book too. So.
That's a good question.
We don't have, as of this time, any links or anything like that, but there are, if you Google a little bit, there are quite a few websites that have rating systems, and like they've personally reviewed the comics and things like this and have some checklists and some lists like that. And we do envision having some links to those sites as well as our own very verbose rating system.
Yeah. We are not the most computer savvy individuals right now. We're hoping that our children grow up to become that so that they can help us. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know, that actually is a good point. That there are other people that give away free stuff that you can download on your little smartphone and everything. That's really good for people that can afford that. There are a lot of people in the world today that just can't afford to have that. I mean, I don't even have a computer, you know, because I spend all my money giving away comics.
Travel.
But so we just felt it was more important to actually give out the physical items.
Yeah, it's
I think
tactile
there's something
sensation.
about this.
And trading too, like, you know, like you have something physical you could trade with your friends. Like we were always of the camps of the, like, we'd go to the dealers and they'd trade 2 for 1, our 2 for their 1, and stuff like this. Oh my dear Lord.
You don't see ads for cool old movies like Cop and a Half on the internet. I just got to say this. Burt Reynolds, one kid's fantasy, one cop's nightmare.
Like he said, we wouldn't have normally hung out if it wasn't for
one
comics.
career-killing movie. No,
We invited Bert, he couldn't make it.
he wouldn't make it. Actually, he could have. He just said no. Stop
No.
calling me.
One of our resources that we share is that throughout our adventures in the comic book world, we do share a brain. We became very well versed in the buying and selling of comic books, and with a lot of those contacts that have been generous to us and allowed us, even including today, to appear and give out their comic books in place of them, and also rare and unusual collections have came our way in our professional lives, and we're able to sell. Like, for instance, if someone donates us comic books, we have the wherewithal to be able to filter out which ones are good for the kids, which ones are super valuable that would maybe be used better elsewhere in funding some of our overhead experiences and buying more collections to give out to the kids. And it's real important that we are doing that, and we recirculate a lot of comic books that have sat in warehouses for years that are just going unused and could find a young, fresh mind, you know, to permeate and start looking up some words and getting some social interaction with their family and friends and peers.
None of you guys came by our table yesterday, or did any of you see us? Okay. Yesterday was a really good example of like the comics I had to give away. Yesterday was a lot of store inventory that was left over from like about 1982. So there were uncirculated big stacks of like Teen Titans and stuff like that. And the looks on the kids' faces were just like, oh, and their parents are like, can they touch these? I'm like,
Yeah,
yes.
it's like, these are mint comics,
Yes,
and we're
the
like, I could fit the
comics
whole-
are to be read.
Yeah.
But by the way, we cannot
We
give this
do
to
not
kids.
give away-
Why is
It was here when I got here.
Yeah, not a comic book for children. This is a grown-up comic.
He's gonna keep it.
I totally am. But something that people would notice, I had a donation jar set up because every once in a while I eat lunch or something like that. But then I noticed that halfway through the day, I was out of stuff. I'd given away a couple of about 1,200 comics yesterday, and it was hitting about 3 in the afternoon. We still had 4 hours to go. I'm like, oh, well, the money that we get, I turn right around and walk into the convention and buy another box of comics, and then release that. Now we have comics for today, and plus the ones that you brought down from Seattle.
Yeah.
But there's been people on the internet have said like, "Oh, you guys just take the comics and keep them for yourselves." No. Oh, you guys are just trying to get money for yourselves. No. We actually really put all this back into what we're doing. And even though we're Northwest based, and so being in Portland's like, ooh, not that big of a deal,
Love
we
Portland.
actually go all over. I mean, I've been to New Orleans and Philadelphia and DC and points unknown.
Florida.
Florida.
Too hot.
Too many bugs. Anyway, I love Florida. This is on the internet. I love Florida. Absolutely love Florida, especially Sarasota, Florida. Specifically Sarasota, Florida, and everyone involved with it.
Good,
Anyway.
good segue.
Yeah,
That
thanks.
brings us to our next point, is that the comic book professional part is that we both written and drawn some titles that you have never heard of, and
Shouldn't.
and shouldn't, because
Not
we can't
appropriate
give them
for
to
children.
kids. And I also, both of us actually are both Overstreet comic book price guide advisors for going on 20 years now, and have utilized some of those contacts to get dealer overstock and things like this. And so we're able to give away the $6 or $10 comic book that other dealers would be like, oh my gosh, I got to sell this. And we're like, a young mind needs this book more than your checkbook, you know what I'm saying? Or your next condo payment, Vincent Zerzurlo. Love you. But that being said, also I did work for Comics Guarantee Corporation, which encapsulates and grades the comic books. And I worked for them a couple years in the grading department as the quality control. And we saw $1 million books, or future $1 million books at the time, all the time. And those books are sealed up forever, never to be read. And we do envision at one point in our future to have a library, at least a sit-down library, maybe in-house, so that the children can see some of those type of books and read them and have fun with them and see the middle grade, the lesser graded books that other dealers would shy away from, we can embrace and give away or have as a reference to kids to look up and listen to and check out.
I think that it's it's important that kids get into this with the way Hollywood is now. There's all the movies are coming out, so the kids are like Thor. You see all the kids dressed up as Thor, Captain America, Spider-Man, whatever.
And pea shooters.
And pea shooters. That's great. I think that's awesome. I mean, I was dressing up in the 70s. The costumes were not nearly as cool. They did not. You get a plastic mask.
Yeah.
You got a plastic mask.
Very scratchy plastic mask.
Yeah, put an eye
Probably
out for
formaldehyde chemicals or something.
That's what I miss. But I think it's really cool that now we have an opportunity where comic books are a bigger deal than they've ever been. Well, I don't know about ever. In the 30s, they were pretty darn popular. They were printing more of them back
Yeah,
then.
way big popular.
You'd think there'd be more left. I think now is a really good time for us to jump on this and get comics nationwide and get them to the kids, get them in their hands, and not be sticking the parents for the money. Comic books are so expensive now. Comic books are almost $4 a piece now. For your average, I don't know if you have an allowance. I don't know if you have an allowance or anything like that, but I know when I was getting an allowance.
My wife gives me an allowance.
You're lucky. Your average kid today, if he's got $10 to go spend, is he going to go buy 2 comic books? Or is he going to buy some comic books and rent some video games? Or God knows what else.
Yeah.
It's really important that we get kids reading, and instead of on their tablets or their telephones or anything like that. That wasn't aimed at you. I'm just teasing. I'm just thankful you're here. Whereas, oh, that's cool. Reading is reading. And I understand that the way of the future, kids are going to be on their tablets and stuff like that. But if we do not basically hook kids on this medium now or in the next 10 years, 10 years from then, there's not going to be conventions. There's not going to be, it'll all go away. I've seen the future, and if we don't get kids into it, what are they going to do? You know, because comic books are only going to keep on going up in price, sadly. I see, even though, truth be known, they could still be selling them cheaper. They just jack up the price because we're willing to pay for it. And I say the nay. I really like doing this. It's one of the few things I do in my life that actually makes me happy, is making kids like, whoa. The amount of kids that I saw their eyes get this big when I'm handing them a stack of 70s Thors yesterday. I was like, man, that's a cooler thing than selling, I don't care, I could sell a Spider-Man #1 and not get the same feeling I get from just giving a bunch of kids comic books. And if nothing else, it's completely selfish, dang it, and that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, speaking of selfish, I'm going to take over this conversation.
Please do.
But capitalizing on what Jason said was that encouraging kids to read and interact socially at a young age and not be profiteer-minded all the time. And, oh, I can get this book and sell it for $50 more than I paid for it. And what does that $50 get you when you have maybe, like, say, for instance, we've influenced some minds of the future that are going to become I shouldn't say they're not already literate, because there's still schools involved and we have literate children, but the imagination is another important factor. You know, we want the people of the future and the future that we're raising our children in to be full of creative-minded people that maybe have better morals or better relationships with everybody, and they don't want to go take guns to school, or they don't want to even think about hurting somebody else because, like, the Fantastic Four helped out the people that they were trying to save from Dr. Doom, or Dr. Doom in his home country of Latveria. He's, you know, a monarch, and he rules with an iron fist, but he's also compassionate and makes sure everybody's fed and clothed, and then makes them go do evil things, you know. But we'll skip the...
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Good one. But also based on what you said with the Iron Fist and references that wouldn't normally be caught by other people in films and things like this are capitalized on in the comic books, and it's just really cool to see audiences these days full of little kids that maybe have a little grip of comic books, or when theaters give away some comics, which reminds me of Free Comic Book Day every May that Joe Fields started up a few years ago, which is great, but it's also sort of an advertising campaign for the publishers.
Totally
And you know, the comic stores have different distribution levels that they can take advantage of when they pay so much money for the silver, gold, or platinum level, and they get a free limited comic or something like that, and it's more
The intent behind it is
profit-driven.
not the same.
And we do appreciate the profits. We want people to be making money for their families, and we need those high-priced people. Like, for instance, if someone were to sell an Action 1 in the media for over $1 million, we want them to push the envelope so it brings more attention to the field, by all means. And there are legitimate books that are valuable. There's quite a few that aren't, unfortunately. And a lot of people overcharge. And we've been able to take advantage of both sides, because we've been on the profiteer side and we've seen what happens. And then when we're on the lower end of the spectrum, should we say, with the profit levels very small to none, literally giving them away, then we're like supporting the industry from the bottom up, as it were. And we'll keep people interested in comics, and dealers will be able to give us their overstock and take advantage of some tax breaks in the future and things like this. So it's really still putting money in their pocket and feeding their families too, as well as getting us around the country to give away comics and talk to you guys.
Should I rally about the IRS right now? No, I won't.
No.
You know how hard it is to get a 501c3 when you're really trying to do something good? It's like, no, I really just want to give something
Nobody
free.
believes this. It's
They're
well,
like, sure you do.
can't you just sell them for a quarter or sell them for 10 cents? It's like the whole point is free.
And-
Free.
Yeah, it's at least 3 solid years battling with the IRS, and every couple of months, like, oh, we'll give you some. I see a hand up. Oh my goodness, a hand up.
Please
That means
speak,
there's a
child.
question.
Please speak. Yes. We have given comic books to teachers who've distributed them, and also Andrew Wales has used them as a tool in his art class to help them make their own narrative novels and things, graphic novels and things like this on a very small scale to, like, 50 or 100 children at a time. And because one thing that we like to do is we give different comics to people. So you don't always get all the same comic to one class, and so it's kind of hard to teach off of that. But it's definitely, some teachers have used them as a reward base, like if they read so many books, they get a little stack of comics from us and things like this. And that's pretty empowering for us because we need all the help we can get, you know, not only donations, but like-minded individuals, you know, pushing the envelope. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Now, I was here yesterday giving stuff out, and I talked to 2 other teachers, came to me yesterday and brought me stuff like, this is what we're trying to do this coming year, can you help us? So actually I was going to get together with you. So yeah, 2 different teachers from the Oregon area have contacted me yesterday and said, hey, we want to do something. Yeah, we do, like in Tacoma or Seattle, we do events at the libraries, free events with kids, and do like little mini comic cons where the kids come all dressed up and we give away comics. That's a lot of fun. They're even doing them at farmers markets like once a year and stuff. We've been doing that, lots of fun. I would recommend that teachers and school districts and interested parties all over the world should be contacting us so that we could at least help organize. If we can't get them the stuff, we will put them in touch with somebody who can in their area. If nothing else, we've got people in Canada, we've got people all over the globe that are kind of getting into this. So as in the next year, as things start snowballing for us a little bit more, we're going to get them to as many schools as humanly possible, if that helps answer your question at all. And by the way, I have comic books up here for you right now and at our table. We are in the kids area, at the beginning of the kids area, by the animals they're letting you pet, and by the princesses you can have your pictures taken with.
Very cool.
Another child.
Welcome one and all.
We have comics for that child as well. No, I want everyone to stop by, grab one of our little flyers so you can actually get in touch with us at any time. Call him late at night. It'll be fun.
Have you guys ever thought about working with the American Association of Pediatrics? I'm a pediatric nurse, and I find that
That's a great idea.
relationship with superheroes and relating to the children is a big icebreaker. You know, when I bring kids back, this is actually my scrub shirt.
Nice, nice.
I have another one, you know, it's got an S on it with the blue, and
Very cool.
And you'll see a kid that'll come in, you know, like with a Batman shirt or a Superman shirt, and you're like, you know, hey, that's really cool. You know, I'm a Superman fan as well. What is it you like about Superman?
Yeah.
And they can actually, you know, talk about it. And I noticed that it's helped out with their creativity in development. For example, we do a drawing test with 5-year-olds. Just have them basically do a stick figure.
Yeah.
Well, those kids that have been exposed to comics tend to have more of an artistic flair. Had one do a Superman, one did a Batman.
Nice.
It was just phenomenal to see that from as young as age as 5 years old.
Yeah.
And you see across the board, basically, the majority of the kids are just doing stick figures.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of a really good way of putting kind of like everything I was saying earlier is that, you know, kids that grow up reading comics turn into better people. More interesting people at the very least. Heck, even if they're bad people, they're more inventive. You know, it's like, you know, they're not just a random criminal, they're a super criminal. No, I'm not encouraging that at all. Quite the opposite, actually. Really, I was just hearing on the radio, I listen to a lot of talk radio because I'm that kind of exciting. There just recently some sort of European like 20-year survey where they found out that kids growing up reading things that they enjoy, they didn't specify comics necessarily, but it falls in that category, things that kids enjoy on their own, basically just handing them a stack of whatever it is they're going to read and like. They followed these kids, and they found they did better in school. And when they left school, they did better at going into the workforce. And they became better overall people. And the world could use some better people. Personal opinion only. I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded. But that kid needs a comic book. That kid needs a comic book. That kid needs a comic book right there. That kid needs a comic book. So does that one over there. But I mean, I'd like to think more people agree with me. I mean, I travel a lot. I've been giving away a lot of comic books to a lot of kids for a lot of years. And I'm starting to see these kids now 10 years after I gave them their first comic book. And they're like older now. And they're like, look, I'm drawing my own comic book. Or look, I'm doing this with my life. I met a kid yesterday that was like, I met you like 8 years ago and you gave my dad a bunch of comics to give to me. And I still have every single one of them. And, you know, now I have a big old comic collection. And so maybe I'm just encouraging a whole nother generation of hoarders. I don't know. You know, I hope it's more than that. I hope it's more than that. I'd like to think that we're actually getting kids thinking, like you said. You know, thinking. There's more going on up there. And I personally think that you get more going on up here from holding and reading and turning the page than you do looking at a screen.
I gotta be honest with you, I totally agree with you on that. For the first time, I downloaded a comic book on the iPad, and I was going through it, and it just wasn't, I couldn't connect with it.
Felt like
Yeah,
it
it's
had no soul.
Something's missing, you know? Something's missing.
Had no Elvis in it.
Experience.
We just recently received a letter from a young lady that we laid some New Mutants comic books on several years ago, just because it came up in conversation and we happened to have them on tap, and we loaded her up with some New Mutants. And she has since moved to South Korea and lives in a very small apartment and reads the Comixology
Yeah,
application.
I think that's what it
and
is.
but still has a few comic
People that
books,
have
and it
taken
was
our name, yeah.
because that we gave her comic books that she ventured out and researched new titles and went to a local comic store and spent some hard-earned cash to buy titles to support the local comic store. So it's really such a cool thing that we do. It's crazy because you see the cycle complete. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And what you said earlier about being involved in pediatrics, we have definitely donated some
cool
comic books
idea.
to the
Children's
Salvation
Hospital.
Army, Cancer Recovery Foundation,
St. Jude's.
all kinds of people in times of distress, and they find that the escapism of the comic books is really helpful in times of crisis. You know, it's something for the kids to take their mind off of, you know, beyond the teddy bear that they can hold on to. They got a comic book that they can sort of get lost in for a little bit and take their mind off maybe their problems or trouble at home or just, you know, whatever kind of thing that's going on. And it's pretty neat because they can really relate to the comic book figures like the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Superman, whatever, Green Lantern, for instance, that have made, you know, some tough personal choices, although vicariously in the comic books they can relate that to their life and even later life to learn some life lessons that they wouldn't normally have been exposed to or have a big brother or big sister. The Superman figure becomes almost like a parent, you know, or some sort of role model for them too.
Yeah, and better than your average sports star or anything like that. And you know what?
Yeah.
I never once did angel dust because of Daredevil.
Scared the crap out of me.
Never once did I do angel dust
I've
because
never foamed at the mouth from
never
drawing.
foamed out of the mouth and jumped through a window. But I wasn't even going to try that stuff because of, you know, the Frank Miller run on Daredevil,
Yeah.
which oddly enough I'm not comfortable giving to children,
do
yet
not-
I learned
we
some
don't
of my
give
own.
them away to kids because of the gunplay.
They're
and
just too intense.
it's
but
very top shelf.
you know, I
The
don't know.
Green
once they-
Lantern, Green Arrow of the '70s also a little heavy for
Totally.
kids.
The Neil Adams, the drug issues, some of the most like poignant stuff. I'm almost leery of giving to kids.
Little kids, we do give them to the older teens
Yeah,
and things like this.
the teenagers
because
that
it's
come to our
great.
table, I'm like, oh,
We got a little special
out and
stash
run
for
underneath
them,
it.
you know.
you know, it's like you can handle a Frank Miller Daredevil, but you know, generally has like some big giant gun or something on the cover of it.
Yeah,
and I
it's
just there's enough of that in the world.
Or a needle showing, you know, kind of stuff
Yeah.
that the code. What happened with the Comics Code Authority from the 1950s? All the publishers got together and decided to censor themselves, and we just take that a step further, and really make sure we watch what we're giving to kids. And if there is something questionable in it, we encourage. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. The interaction with the children and adults, like parents or uncles or whatever, that are into comic books, they really help each other out as far as. He's doodling. I can't even believe artists doodle. Come on, it's not art for kids.
Writing something.
Anyway,
inappropriate.
sorry. Let me get back to what I was saying.
Wanted to see if you're paying attention.
I forgot. No, with the parents interacting with the kids, we try to make sure that when we're giving out comics to kids, we sort of give them to the parents first, with limited exception for here, this room, because we want to encourage that talk you know, with the parents and the kids going, hey, what are you up to today? You know, what are you reading? What are you doing? And if dad comes dressed as Green Lantern, he's going to talk to the child about comic books, and it's really a good common ground. It's, like you said, it's an icebreaker a million times over. Any social situation between the preppies and the rockers, I don't know why I would say that.
That is kind
But,
of what happened.
you know, crosses all
He was
social
a soch, I was a
circles.
greaser. It was a long time ago.
All social boundaries are
this a
broken
lot.
with comic books. It's great. It's great. And because everybody knows what comic books are, even if they don't necessarily read them or are into them, they know about the medium, and it's very wholesome.
Aw.
You know,
Aw.
another thing I find in pediatrics with superheroes, I make sure that we order superhero Band-Aids. And
Yeah.
I bring in a choice, you know, for those kids, you know, who are at that proper age. And I'm like, okay, you know, you're going to go ahead and get your shots today, but here's the deal. I've got Iron Man, I've got Wolverine, I've got Superman.
Yes.
Which Band-Aid is going to help you?
Yeah, yeah,
These
that's
guys are
very
like
cool.
the ultimate power couple. She's a teacher, she's pediatrics.
And
It's
taking
awesome.
that fear that they have through the courage of that particular superhero that they can identify with.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, we always give out
Totally agree with
stickers,
that.
we give out cookies, and to the older kids, you know, they don't want to see the little pandas. And
Yeah.
we can have our superhero stickers.
If you can choose between the fuzzy little lion
Very cool.
or the Fantastic Four, you're gonna.
I wish I could go to your hospital. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it depends on.
He gets the cookies.
I like cookies, as you can tell. Anyway, you guys, you know, I don't really even know how much time they give us here or anything like that. Sorry. Thinking about how my kid would be at one of these things. He'd be literally finding a chandelier to swing off of.
And
You
my
guys are-
kid is at the booth right now giving away comics to kids.
Yeah, we've got the children actually working for us right now. Child labor laws. No, he's 21 now.
Yeah, my youngest
he's an
turned
adult.
21.
The dream is over. Cherish your youth. Your youth, cherish it. Really, you guys, if you have any questions or need anything from us, come and find us. Really, we would be very happy to help you. This is awesome.
That is very cool. Little chase scene, we staged that also.
Yeah, that's totally.
See the silly monkey.
Yeah, it was great as he's laughing the whole time. That's awesome. You guys, I see another question. Young.
Lady, young lady.
I am so. You know, there's a microphone right there. If you guys want to grab that for us.
We do, to your right. To your,
Actually, there's one sitting right
on that
chair
chair,
to the
you can feel
right.
free to grab that one, yeah. Yep, that's us. I've strategically placed them.
Good way for her librarian to, or whoever.
100%, yeah.
Actually, I will give you one of these also. That's got phone numbers in big letters. I
Yeah.
really.
They have, the fourth and fifth graders have an after-school comic program,
Oh, nice.
you know, and we have
I love that.
artist that comes in, but if, and they have, you know, not as all public schools do these days have a full-time library. She's got a full-time library at her school, so it would be a great forum for, you know, either you guys or whoever's associated with you to come in and
Oh, definitely, yeah. No, we look forward to, as we are more able to live and work at the same time in the same field, in regards to our respective other second jobs, we look forward to being on tour, not only for the shows and stuff, but to be personally appearing at, you know, libraries or schools or anything, give a little talk. That's more exciting than this one, probably. But there's probably people sleeping in the back that we don't see. But see, they're dimming their lights.
Hey, don't
right.
touch me there.
Hey, thanks.
Hey, blackest night.
Those aren't two pillows.
Shade my sight. Beware my power, Green Lantern.
We really appreciate you guys coming.
Thank
to
you
see
very
us.
much.
And we look forward to hearing from you on the net. We got our website on the flyers. We'll load you up with some flyers.
If you need anything, come talk to us, you guys. Really, and we're in the kids area, right by the petting zoo. They're literally our the little puppies this big,
Yeah, they're cool. You guys
and
should-
kittens. It's right by our table. Animals, it's so awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you guys
thanks again
very
for
much.
coming out.
Remember, it's commons with a it's comics with a hyphen, the number 4, another hyphen, kids.org.
Yes.
And you can find us on the interwebs.
And you guys keep up the good work.
Really, I want all of you to get in touch with us. I got to get you this flyer. And thank you, all of you, for coming out, both of you. Thank you. I really appreciate that very much.
Hey, thanks again, yeah.
And remember, give
You want
comic
some more
books to
comics?
kids. Give comic books to kids. Give comic books to kids.
Tell your friends, too. Tell them they know where to get comics now. They can email us. We'll send them to them.
Would you give this to your mom? That'd be cool.
Thank you.